Okay, so this one is Joe Rogan. Everyone should exercise. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then we'll get back once we're done.
And he didn't have enough energy to exercise.
That's not
but
true.
But it didn't look
That's
like
not true.
that.
That's not true. He just didn't do it.
No, I don't believe that.
But when you say he didn't have enough energy to exercise, did he walk around?
Well, yeah,
Did
but
he
you can
walk to-
drag yourself through things.
And you can drag yourself through an exercise routine. You can. But you most certainly can. You most certainly can. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do something. You walk up hills. You jump a little rope. You take a little tiny kettlebell. You do a couple cleans and presses. You do a few push-ups. You do a few sit-ups. You get your blood pumping. You're moving. You're alive. You're exercising. To say you don't have enough extra energy to exercise, that's crazy. Can you walk to the refrigerator? Then you can exercise. I'm not saying that you have to run marathons. You can exercise, and everyone should fucking exercise.
Oh man, this one's a good one. Like, I really like this one a lot. And you know, it's funny because I've actually talked to you about this, I believe, recently. Like, as far as myself, what I implement in my exercises, you know, it's not about going over the top. And a lot of people always say this, like, they always say, like, oh no, man, I didn't have the energy. I couldn't go. I was too tired, right? Whatever. For some reason, they're like, oh, they need to go out there and they need to go do the max they can do. They can power out and whatever. Don't get me wrong. You want to do your personal best all the time, right? You want to beat that. You want to crush those goals. And I agree with you. Sometimes you're not into it. But if you just start off with, like he said, pick up one of those bells, right? Do a little jump rope, you know, get that blood pumping. That's all you need. Once you start doing that, you're going to want to do more. You're going to start getting to it. It just takes that first step. So like, for instance, with myself, when I start thinking like, I don't want to get up, man, I don't want to do this, right? Because I like to exercise in the morning. Like, I just don't want to. I have a stress ball and I start squeezing it and squeezing it and squeezing it. And then once I start feeling that blood pumping on my arm, then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let me go ahead and go to my bench. Let me go ahead and do a few pulls, you know, and then, all right, cool. Like, the blood starts flowing. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and start doing some curls. Let me go ahead. Next thing you know, I'm already in my exercise. You don't need to go and do all this crazy weight. You don't need to just do something. Do a little bit of jump rope. Like you said on the previous video, is that, hey, walk around the block, you know, implement certain things instead of driving to your mailbox, you know, walk to your mailbox, you know, go ahead and walk to your Amazon package, whatever it is. If you live in an apartment or anything like that, start implementing those things. Do more physical activities, you know, and that's exercise. A lot of people just don't realize this, right? Don't get me wrong. We all want to take all the groceries in at one time, right? But hey, take those few extra steps. Just take a few, you know, bags, take them in, go back out, take a few bags, get those extra steps in. There's a lot of things you can do to exercise. As far as saying, oh, you know, you just don't have enough energy. Oh, I just don't want to do it. That's a cop out. And guess what? You've already lost. So stop losing, start winning.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. You know, that's people's, you know, like you said, excuse to say, oh, I can't do anything. I'm tired. I'm too tired from work or too tired for my day, yada, 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 stuff like that. Like it says, if you have energy, you know, to get up, go walk to the other room, walk to the restroom, walk to the fridge. You got energy to go exercise, right? And once you start exercising more, guess what? You'll probably start getting more energy, right? Once you start exercising more, and if you start actually putting in good fuel into your body, right? You start eating well, your energy will start skyrocketing, right? So you'll start feeling better throughout the day and stuff like that. So, you know, that was kind of the point of the video, right? You know, Michaela was like saying, oh, this guy didn't have enough energy to go work out. And Joe Rogan kind of called her out on it. Like, no, that's kind of BS, right? You got energy to get up. You got energy to go work out. And, you know, like you said, it could be small, right? We're going to walk down the street. We're going to do this, do some walking. And then eventually let's bump it up. Right? Let's do a little jog. Let's do a little run. Let's do some push-ups, work a little kettlebell. So, you know, I always kind of tell people two different perspectives, you know, when people kind of like try to cop out or say like, oh, well, you don't understand. Like one of the big things, right? People are like, oh, I can't work out. I got kids. I'm like, so you think there's somebody out there in this whole entire world that has kids? You think everybody out there that has kids don't work out? I'm like, no, there's people out there with kids. They work out. They find similar situations. They make it work, right? They, you know, people work out at home, or people may, if you're able to go have a gym that has a daycare, there's also those options, right? But if you can't, people still work out at home, where they'll take their kids on get those, spend a little money on a stroller or something that you could just push them with, and you start pushing them or go for walks with them, stuff like that. So, energy is not an excuse. Same thing with, there's someone out there with your similar situation. I guarantee you that works out, right? So, don't using those as an excuse, right? So, for men especially, go out there, get moving. If you're not in shape, start working as that. If you need to start slow, right? I'm gonna walk around the block. I'm gonna start jogging. I'm gonna start doing some push-ups, right? If you don't have the funds, to get a gym membership, then use your body. That's a big way to do it. Push-ups, maybe like some burpees, stuff like that. It's like you don't really need that much equipment to get that stuff done, right? Then once you start getting more familiar, start investing, smallly into, some weights or something, kettlebell or something. You get a good workout with the kettlebell, right? So you invest in a decent kettlebell, and you could probably get a good pump in, a good workout in. So don't use that energy as an excuse, guys. Go out there, get moving. Don't use anything as an excuse. If you lose one day, if you lost a battle one day mentally, then you got to get up the next day and fight and try to win that battle.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And actually, with you bringing up more into it about excuses, like that's a big one. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're going to win every battle with excuses. Like, you're not. But the goal is to make it less to where it's bare minimum ever. And then you have no excuses. Because the truth is that you don't have any excuses. Like you said, especially with the whole kids thing. One thing that I would say is that if you have kids and your excuse is the kids, huge cop out. If anything, right now is the time to even have more exercise to show them and implement them in your exercise. Right now, that's the biggest thing for them. Even if they're little ones, like you can go play catch, you can go throw the football, you can go whatever, even if you take your kid, like I said, to go get the mail, to go walk down the street to the truck, whatever it is, doing that physical labor, that physical activity is going to help them. One thing that you have said in the past before, that you said that somebody saw a kid reading a book, and they had said, or you tell it better.
Basically, there was I don't know, there's someone at Subway, right? And there was a kid, he was like reading a book, and there was a lady that asked, like, "Oh my gosh, how did you get your kid to like read a book? Like, I don't understand. Like, there's some kind of magic, right? Like, how did you get the kid to read a book?" It's like, well, I read books, so my kid sees me reading books, and guess what? They want to read a book. So, if your kid sees you exercising, right, that's what they're going to want to do. They want to do, kids look up to their parents, especially, right? They want to do, be like their parents, do what the parents do, stuff like that.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm saying, like, this is the time to do that. When they're younger, they're going to get that ingrained and imprinted in their mind, on their soul, that, hey, I do this because my parents did it. You don't need to give them a reason why. There's tons of stuff that we all do just because our parents did it. We can't tell you why, and that's a perfect example of why you need to do it with your kids. The other thing is you talked about as far as equipment, bro. Yes, I completely agree. Like, as a matter of fact, majority of the exercises that you should do that are the most beneficial for you are without weights, especially if you're looking to lose weight, if you're trying to have a better figure, for yourself, then yeah, man, no weights. Like, you don't need that, especially to start off, to beginner. I would actually suggest no weights. Like, for instance, with myself, like, I don't use a lot of weights. A lot of my stuff is crunches, sit-ups, push-ups, a lot of what is it called? When you do the actual push. So what I do is, like, for instance, I use my island in my place. And so what I do is I do the push-ups off of the island. You know what I mean? I use a chair to help me do my push-ups. And all I have is a bench. I have a bench that helps me with my sit-ups so that I could go further back. And then also it helps me with my curls. And then it helps me with, I guess, like rolls. That's the only thing that I have my weights for. The only reason being is because I want to have bigger arms, bigger chest. That's kind of like my goal. But everything else, Don't need no weights. You don't need weights. Like, that's an excuse, you know? Eventually, later on, once you start getting into it, it's like a hobby. Once you start doing it more, guess what? Throw some more money into it. Go ahead and put aside a budget. You know, we've talked about finances in the past. This is where it all starts coming into play, right? And guys, just get off your asses. Like, if I can do it, y'all can fucking do it. Like, believe me, guys. Like Sal says, don't bring the cookies in the house.